Hello and welcome to the worst triumph in the history of the world. Please, if you consider any of this content useful, please consider like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. This is, or was, or kind of is, a late 90s Triumph T595 slash 955i Daytona. They called it the T595. These had this cool naming convention at Triumph where everything was T. But then 595 sounds like it only has 600 cc's when it has 955 stonking cc's of power. We bought the Ninja 3 hours away in Edmonton. We pulled up to this tire shop. There's this old, totally beaten bike in the back here, and we asked about it. He said, "Oh, it was a theft recovery. They'd never changed the ownership, and it belonged to the dad." Anyways, we saw it come up for sale a month later. Had to have it for 400 Canadian smackers, which is not much money, but you get an interesting amount of bike here. So the story is, this was, one of the finest bikes you could buy in the world in the late 90s. This 955, 128 supposed horsepower, 75 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot. It's got the best of everything. The biggest brakes, the most adjustable suspension, this huge, friggin' mungous 190 rear tire on it, which is hilarious. So big. The Ninja has a 140. It looks tiny compared to this thing. But it has been through the abuse factor. This was a yellow bike. You can see deeply under the terrible spray paint, the original color, which was beautiful at one time before the spray bombs got to it. Look at how bad it is. It's got, I don't know if they were going for a green and black theme or it was green and then black, but man, it got bad. Look at the stanchions. It has spray paint on it. Oh, the gauges have some beautiful black overspray. That's what you want on a flagship, top-of-the-line dream bike. We got some speaker cable here doing unspeakable things. The battery was the tiniest battery in the world, held together with a hose clamp. It was bad. Look at the fuel to the door because they drilled it out. This is your fuel retaining device. Certainly appropriate on a dream machine that cost $20,000 new. But that's cool. The bike appears to be quite complete though, and the tires aren't even totally bald. Apparently the person was running from the police on this thing when they got caught. Ended up an impound or whatever. Check out this interesting carbon fiber muffler here. So anyways, this thing was built in the late 90s to compete with the biggest bikes of the day, the R1, the Fireblade. It's got a crazy aluminum perimeter frame on it. What's really nuts about it is I read all these things about how super sport is the position. It is super. This tank is enormous. So you sit on this tiny seat, and you have to like lean over the whole tank, like really leaned over. Like I'm Akira. I'm a part of the bike. It's the time to beat back the bio beast. Yeah, this tank is enormous. You like lean on the tank. These bars are so low. They made this in another version of the famous Street Triple, which was a less aggressive full race position. Like, look at how aimed down they are. It's nuts. The gauges are so low. When you sit on the 750 Ninja, this thing is like, sitting on a Dutch Cruiser bicycle compared to this monstrosity. But everything seems to be there. I mean, the rad's kind of off, and there's lots of baling wire. I mean, you got a baling wire on a, dream bike from Europe. I like this carbon's on here. It's really nice. At least all the controls are here. The front brake doesn't work. Got no fluid in there on these massive 320 millimeter 4-piston monstrosities. Giant oil cooler. But at least the bike is pretty complete. And it doesn't look like however many crashes it's been through. This is very safe. A black spray painted tail light. Signals have seen better days. Everything has seen better days. But it's all there. It's not even that. It's like not rusty or anything. For $400, I think we're doing all right. Next up, power wash. Let's see if it improves things. Sit rep. Cleaning has improved things slightly. If I mean slightly, I mean 0.5%, 1/4%, 1%. Nah, it looks somewhat better. You can start to see some of the nice pieces. There used to be this nice yellow in here. Still has some clear coat left on it. And we can see this beautiful perimeter aluminum frame still has the clear on it underneath this rattle can. You can start to see some of the stuff. This rear rim is so cool. It's so gigantic on the single swing arm. At least on the electrics are here. You can see some of the aluminum, the beautiful aluminum still there. These things are supposed to be really awesome to ride. Although I think this seating position might be a little aggressive for me. The Speed Triple is basically the Spain bike with more upright bars. So that might be the way to go, since we have the front cowl for it, but man, it's pretty beat. It's fiberglass and spray painted and pretty horrible, so it's probably not going back on. These things are sort of made to be Street Fighters anyways. This is not far off from what the Street Triple looks like with its little googly eyes. So I think Street Fighter conversion is the way to go, since the plastics probably cost a fortune, and it's pretty much there. Look at the exhaust. We're starting to see something cool, something nice. At least it's complete. Wow. Later today we're going to put some, get that brake blade out so that we can do it, figure out what's going on with all these wires, how it starts. You just turn this ignition because the cylinder is gone, and see what kind of ancient gas is in this plastic gas tank. Plastic is cool. No rust in there, but apparently ethanol not so good. God, swelly. And, you know, signal lights, something like that. It's pretty bad. This is the brake light, and you can see they've left like a tiny bit of it clear, but the rest is spray painted for that stealth fighter look. The owner told us that, so he sold it to a guy who never registered it, then it got stolen, and then ended up way up in northern Alberta, and he had to pay $1,000 to pick it up after like a 6-hour drive. And I just sat there because they didn't know what to do with it, but we know what to do with it. Get it running. Stay tuned for the next video. Maybe we can get this thing running, maybe get some of this horrible paint off of it, and start to restore it to its former glory. But man, this thing looks dangerous, doesn't it? See you in the next one.